It's part 3 of our in-depth horror discussion
Part
breakdown.
3,
scene by
Fright
scene.
Night, 1985, original.
So we left off at the infamous
Club scene.
80s club scene where they're playing the tight music.
So yeah, so
throughout.
it cuts back to the club and freaking he gets off the phone with the cops and freaking they don't believe him and freaking it shows freaking
So his girlfriend's out on the dance floor.
No, it shows him up at the top level, but then freaking it cuts to her and then he's on the bottom level and on the dance floor and she sees him from across the dance floor.
Yeah, they do the old eye contact flirt.
So then she freaking walks towards him, even though she was scared 2 seconds ago running from him. That's why they ran into the restaurant.
Because they saw him chasing him.
So she's scared. But anyway, so then freaking she sees him in the club and she's like, alright. So then she freaking walks out into the dance floor. And then
there's no dialogue at all.
Freaking out, and then it kicks into the 80s. It's like a slow motion dance.
He puts her in a trance or whatever. He's got like all these.
He's got her to freaking grind on her. To grind on him. She starts freaking grinding on him. And
he's got mind control powers like a Sith Lord.
But then then he like touches in her leg and her thigh, and then she like starts to walk away. Then she stops. No, she stops and then she turns around for no reason, and then he hands his hand out. So then she's like, alright, actually, yeah. So then they start freaking slow dancing right there, and then he feels up on her butt cheeks, and then freaking and he whips her side to side, and then he's like about to bite her neck, but freaking she's like, what the?
No, she comes up to him and she licks his hairy nipple.
Because then she's like,
down on his chest on the dance floor.
She like freaking like opens up her freaking shirt and then freaking licks his nipple.
Then they're dancing and then they do this horrible editing sequence where she sees the mirror and she sees that she's dancing with no one. And the way they shot it, she's just with herself like twirling around
with her hands up, acting like she's dancing with someone. Yeah, so freaking after she makes it's a slow motion forever. It's like 5 minutes of her dancing with him.
So then Charlie walks up and notices that his girlfriend's dancing with Jerry.
But it's a pretty tight shot though, she's looking to the mirror and freaking, the way they shot it. Freaking, he's not there with him, he's a vampire. Anyways,
actually,
so then Jerry
freaking shitty.
Yeah, I know, they're shitty how they did it, but it's tight.
So then Charlie walks up because he knows his
Charlie
girlfriend.
walks up and he's like, what the fuck? Why the hell is she dancing with the vampire?
And Jerry, the frickin' main vampire villain, he pinocchles him down.
No, because Jerry tries to punch him. No, because right when he walks up to him...
He literally gives him a pinochle.
Right when he walks up to him, Jerry freaking starts kissing his girlfriend. She's like, oh yeah, I'm in love with you. So then they freaking kiss. Jerry tries to punch him like, you son of a... And then he pinocchles him.
He's just like, you can't kill me in the middle of the dance floor. Ah.
So then they start
the main actor, the young kid, he does pretty good acting throughout. He does a really good job. So does the villain, obviously, Chris Sarandon or whatever. So he's just like, I don't want to kill you, and he's just like, bring Peter Vincent over tonight.
He's like, you and Peter
Vincent.
He's
like, we're gonna have a real life Fright Night.
He's like, if you want to see Amy again. So freaking, they start getting let out by the bouncers.
So then the bouncers finally show up, even though if it was real life, they would have showed up a long time ago and kicked you out.
2 black bouncers start freaking taking
I've been kicked out of clubs for like nothing. Like,
wow, he's been kicked out of clubs for nothing.
No, like one time a bouncer came up to me and was just like, "Hey, you called the bartender a slut or a bitch or something." I'm like, "What?" And I didn't even say anything to the bartender.
You're like, "Hey, dude, that wasn't me."
All right, hey guys, come on.
Next door. Anyways.
And his eyes turn red.
Wow. So then, it cuts freaking him, and he freaking shows his freaking vampire hand to like the bouncer, the skinny black bouncer, and then his eyes start going red, and then he gets
all
the fangs.
The extras start tripping out.
So then he scratches him across the freaking neck and like takes a chunk out of his neck, and then he throws the fat bouncer.
There's an opportunity to throw more minority characters in there. They're black.
No, and he eats. No, he bites him. He falls on the table, the skinny one. Then he throws the fat one, and so everybody starts to run.
So they peace out.
Everybody's flipping out.
They peace out in his Jeep, and whatchamacallit. Yeah, evil Ed's in the back, like
the boyfriend runs out to the front to find his girlfriend, and they're just driving off. And it's like and it's him in the back of the Jeep driving away with freaking the vampire's boyfriend that he lives with, and freaking Evil Ed and Amy.
So then Charlie shows up at Peter Vincent's house. He's like, "You gotta help me, man! You gotta help me!" And then Peter Vincent makes him grab the cross to show that he's still human and didn't turn to vampire.
So then he unlocks the door, lets him in.
Then it turns to an emotional part, and he's just like, "I'm a phony.
They played hardcore.
I'm an out-of-work actor. I'm not even that talented."
They played hardcore, actual emotional music, like it's an actual drama scene.
Yeah, they settle it down for that. Like, what the hell? Like we needed
piano,
that.
Like do do do.
He's just like, Peter Vincent's not even my real name.
Like, oh, he's a fraud.
He's like, okay, but I'll help you out.
So then freaking...
He gave him an 80s pep talk. So then it cuts to later at night.
No, he doesn't want to help him out.
Yeah, then he eventually does. So let's go on.
Wow,
at night.
You got balls. Go on.
Amy and Jerry are making out.
Yeah, no, that scene. Yeah, it cuts right from there, from, freaking Charlie talking to Vincent.
And it's like filler forever.
Right
There's like no dialogue
to
again.
Freaking Amy in front of the fireplace, and she's dressed in a white gown, like he undressed her, and freaking put her in the freaking white dress. And freaking she wakes up, and she's like,
No, then they're like all grinding.
And then it's freaking the vampire.
He corrals
Jerry
her,
comes up
and then
to
she
her.
like grasps. They imply they like pokes her like with his penis inside of her. So a second, she's like, oh
no.
Then it cuts to 80s jazz music.
No, so at the beginning of the movie, she's like, yeah, we're virgins. She's like, well, I haven't even made it with anyone. Talking to her boyfriend. But then it cuts to here now, and she's like, oh, and then she's
naked with the vampire who's got 900 years of venereal diseases
built up in his system. Nah, so they're making out and freaking doing it, and then freaking the vampire Jerry bites her, and freaking she gets bit,
and the blood drips down her
it's
back.
The back, or the camera's facing her from her back, and the
anyway,
two blood
so
drips.
Charlie and Peter Vincent meet up in the streets.
Tight shot.
I love the 80s sets, the outdoors shots of the freaking smoke going
Charlie
everywhere
just
in the
shows up first outside of the house, and then freaking he's like, oh, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna get in? No, and then freaking Vincent
and he shows
up,
him the box of the movie set weapons.
Yeah, he's got freaking the cross.
From the show.
He's like, I got holy water,
show.
and he's got he doesn't even have holy water. He just has the crosses, and he's got freaking stakes.
So anyway, they enter Jerry's house like through the front door.
And he's like, "We'll fight the good fight, Jerry."
He's
like Charlie.
Oh,
we'll go
then
in there.
Jerry walks in.
So they sneak in.
So then Jerry walks.
Oh, they don't sneak in. Freaking, what's his name?
They walk through the front door, and then Jerry's like, "Welcome to Fright Night, for real." And it's a dope line. And then Peter Vincent pulls out the cross, and then Jerry crushes it with like his mind power, and he's like, "You have that."
He doesn't crush it with his mind power. He crushes it with his hand.
And he's like, "You have to have faith for this to work." Oh, and it's a dope line.
And then Vincent gets scared, and he like kind of doesn't know what to do.
And then so Charlie like whips out his cross, and he gets whacked by Jerry's handyman.
Yeah, by his freaking like boyfriend or something, the guy that lives with him.
Yeah, so then it cuts to at Charlie. No. So then Charlie gets knocked out or whatever.
No, also when freaking before he says the Fright Night, he's walking on the stairway and he scratches the nail on the wood, and it's like the wood getting cut up from his nail. It's a pretty tight shot. How they did that.
So then they go to Charlie's house. He runs the PV. Vincent runs to Charlie's house to get his mom. Instead of calling the cops, he goes to his mom.
No, he goes next door to call the cops because he grabs the phone. No, he grabs the phone first to call, and the phone's cut. The wire's cut, and he's like, "What the?" And then he thinks about his mom, and he's like, "Oh, Mrs." What the hell?
So he goes over there.
So he goes upstairs.
And what's his name? Evil Ed's in her bed.
Yeah, and he's got like a red mop wig on.
And she's like, "She works the night shift, but she left a note. His dinner is in the oven."
Yeah, he's unraveling a note forever, and it's like suspense leading up to it. What
the radio's
it says.
in the tail, and the tail's gone.
It's freaking hilarious. So then he starts freaking running out.
Oh no, this makes no fucking sense. He like turns him into so he goes to run away from him.
Yeah, so he's a vampire.
We think he's a vampire, and then he goes in the hallway.
So he gets in the hallway and he trips. Vincent trips and he hits his head on the stairs.
And then a supposed werewolf.
And then a werewolf comes out of the freaking hallway.
You're like, where the hell did this come from?
He jumps on him, and then he freaking flips him. He hits the chandelier. Also, he stabs him with the freaking broken wood
from the
table, freaking he falls down. It's pretty tight.
And it's not even a wolf. It's a freaking rental husky, like a house dog.
It's an actor husky. But anyway, so it's the prop. It's the prop of the freaking husky on the floor, like with the stake through him, moving around. It's tight, and he's
then
like,
it goes to
dying.
Vintage 80 props of how he like dissolves and he starts changing, and it shows his hands start changing. And he transformed back into Nate Dunning, an ugly version of Nate Dunning.
Yeah, like a werewolf version of Nate
Dunning. And he goes out, and he's dying slowly.
And the wolf reaches out his hand
towards Vincent,
and Vincent,
the old guy.
And the vampire slayer like puts his hand out to he's like, yeah, I'll touch his butt fingers.
Yeah, they do his
the werewolf
infamous
butt fingers,
like Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers or something. So anyway, Jerry throws Charlie into the room and it cuts back to Jerry throws Charlie into the room with Amy.
Yeah, so then it cuts back to that. He throws Charlie in with Amy, and he's like, "Oh, Andy,
deal with that slut
and he
now that she's a vampire."
And Jerry also throws him like a wood stake because Charlie's about to realize that she turned into a vampire, but he doesn't tell him, But then he does find out, and he's like, "No!" And freaking cuts to freaking the vampire.
So then it cuts back to
in the freaking
Peter
basement,
Vincent
and he hears him.
And Evil Ed, and then Evil Ed's like completely naked because he transformed back into
he transferred back to into human, freaking his friend. And no,
he's a stoner werewolf vampire.
So freaking he's naked. So what that means is before freaking he changed into the werewolf after freaking Vincent. After Vincent ran out of the freaking room out into the hallway, freaking Evil Ed like took off his clothes and then turned into the werewolf.
Yeah, he got butt naked in, like in a split movie second.
In a split movie minute, he freaking got naked and then turned into the wolf and chased him and got killed.
So then, this is another one of my favorite shots. He walks over to Jerry's house. Vincent walks back over to Jerry's house, and it's like a shot of the house, and it's completely baked out in every room.
Oh yeah, the smoke's like coming out of everything, like the freaking gutters and everything. Smoke's everywhere. It sets the mood for sure. So anyways, he sneaks back into the house, the vampire slayer, and he goes upstairs, and he's like, and he knocks on the door.
It doesn't even make sense how they can walk. They keep on walking in and out of Jerry's house like it's easy access or something.
He's like, Charlie, make noise so I can break down the door. And he's like, okay, help. And he's like hitting the door. And freaking he busts the door.
Then it cuts to one of the best scenes of the freaking movie.
Then it cuts down to freaking Jerry, the vampire. And he's like, I hear something. There's guests here. So then they go upstairs and freaking...
Yeah, Jerry's sidekick, his henchman. This is when he goes to stop him, and he shoots him in the head.
Yeah, his henchman starts.
And I guess he's not even like a freaking real vampire. He's a vampire servant, is what they call him on Wikipedia.
It's unclear what it is.
No, he's like a freaking. He's like Jerry's bastard child. He's like half vampire, half like prostitute slut, like human.
Wow, you're telling me he's a half bastard child and a half prostitute slut? Is that what you told me? Wow.
Yeah, he's half human, half vampire. He's Jerry's bastard child.
Okay, anyway, so freaking he's coming up the stairs.
So he shoots him in the head.
He shoots him in the head. He falls down.
They think he's dead.
He gets back up. They shoot him a whole bunch more times.
You can't even recreate the scene if you try to do it nowadays because they do go to CGI.
I know, everything's all CGI bullshit. But anyways, this is one of the tightest 80s prop kills, during that era.
So he walks up slowly to him. We're probably going to upload this scene on YouTube.
So then freaking Charlie stabs him with the white stake, and it goes through his heart. And then freaking and then it's like a freaking green... down. It's a green ooze dripping from his stomach. Cuts the camera down between his legs, and the green's coming down the slime. And then it cuts to him like all freaking turning off, freaking oozy and burning, and freaking like his eyes all freaking bloody and coming off freaking undone. And then he turns into the skull, and it falls down. No, his whole body falls down and shatters, and it's all the bones down the freaking stairs.
They just don't do it like that style anymore.
Yeah, dude, they don't make that shit at all anymore. Cause
they're like, hey, it's easier to clean up if we just do CGI.
It looks so realistic because it was actually there. Real. It was a freaking prop, but it looks so real. Animated. Yeah. So anyways, it falls down, and freaking it's the skull freaking at the bottom of the stairs, and they're like, oh, and it cuts back to Jerry, and
Peter Vincent and Jerry shows up, and it's like face-to-face dialogue,
it cuts back
and
to
they're
Charlie
like,
at the top of the stairs. Jerry's right there.
And that's when the clocks go off and the sun is rising. He's like, you're out of time, bitch.
No, it's another, he's like, you gotta have faith, and freaking,
Yeah, he says that line again, and so then the sun's rising, so Jerry turns into a bat, an actual bat, because he's a vampire, of course, and it's pretty sweet. Actually, the bat that they used, it looked like a jungle bat, and it was like over huge, and he attacks Peter Vincent, and so he goes into the coffin, and then he goes into the basement, and he ends up in the coffin in the basement. This is the ending scene. And then Amy's going crazy. His girlfriend, who's like a full-on vampire at this point, walking through the house like a ditzy bitch. You gonna add something here? No, so then Peter Vincent starts chiseling the coffin to like stab the stake with him so they could finally kill him because he's a bat. So they thought
before that though, you forgot to mention freaking when they're fighting on the stairs still after Jerry shows up and freaking and then freaking he busts out, he turns into a bat.
Well, wow. I've only been talking about the last 2 minutes, you dumbass.
You're summing it up way too fast. No, so he freaking he jumps off the stairs and freaking turns into the bat and goes outside. Can you believe this guy?
So anyway, it's the freaking basement scene, the ending as we know. We're going to go past 15 minutes because I guess we're allowed to shoot videos past 15 minutes now. Yeah, because we got balls.
Alright, now go on.
So anyway, and then he stakes him in the heart. No, awesome vampire prop. No, and he turns into a freaking the human-sized vampire, and he stakes him in the heart. And Jerry rises from the coffin. It's pretty sweet.
So he freaking stabs him. He rises straight up. Yeah, like freaking. Oh, and it's pretty crazy how he rises.
Charlie's fighting his girlfriend Amy, and she's trying to pull the old. Oh, you love me.
She's like, oh, you love me. While she has her back turned, freaking.
So then they're struggling or whatever, and then in the middle of this,
she's like, it's your fault, Jerry. Or she's like, it's your fault, Charlie. Why you let me, fall prey to him? And he's like, you walked away from me. You freaking did sleazy dancing with him at the freaking club.
So anyway, they struggle, and this is how he knocks her out. He elbows her like so briefly you can barely even catch it. It's all sketchy, so bear with us.
It cuts back to her, and she's got the big old vampire teeth. She's got even a bigger mouth, makeup, we know. And then freaking he gets hit with the.
They break all the windows. Then because the sun rises, they start to break all the windows in the basement, and he opens the board off, and he kills Jerry.
No, Jerry freaking gets
he opens the board, and this is how he kills Jerry. He opens the board that's covering the window, and it's full-on sun rays to Jerry.
And kicks him back
even though he's
gotten
the wall. Stakes to the freaking heart and crosses everywhere.
But it's kind of
holy water.
It's like the green yellow flame burning on him, and then he turns to it's kind of weird though because it turns into like a dragon skeleton. And it's kind of fucking retarded. It's like an elephant freaking skeleton.
Yeah, it was like 80s computer animation. They're like, hey, early CGI.
So then he blows up and then.
Oh, this is so gay. Then they make it a happy ending. They start doing a piano playing ending.
Yeah, they don't even say anything.
His girlfriend turns back to normal.
Oh yeah, this is retired. She's a vampire, and after they kill the main vampire, she's
your love has broken the curse.
Like from freaking Scary Movie 4, like The Ring when the main
Scary Movie 3.
Hey, your love has broken the curse. I don't have to kill anymore. No, so freaking
She's like, no, bitch.
They kill freaking Jerry. She's freaking not even a vampire anymore, and you're like, okay.
And they're hugging. And it's like happily ever after.
And the other plot hole is freaking his friend turned into the freaking werewolf, even though he was a freaking vampire. Anyways,
and he accepted her back, even though she got hepatitis V
from freaking Jerry.
And then it's at night. Next night.
So just cuts the next night, and it's like where they left off at the beginning of the film, where they're making out upstairs, watching
Nate
Vincent.
Dunning only brutally died butt-ass naked in my house earlier today, but hey, we're gonna live this night like it's normal.
I know.
So then they start making out, swapping STDs.
No, and she's like, did you hear? And he goes to the window, she's like, did you hear something? What's going on, Jerry? And he's like, no, it's nothing.
No, and whatchamacallit, Peter Vincent, he's hosting Fright Night again on TV.
Yeah, and he gives him a shout out in the 80s. He's like, hey, Charlie.
YouTube style. He gives him a shout out.
He's like, I'm gonna give it a rest from the vampires. He's like, don't you think so, Jerry? And
he's just like, yeah, so they don't play it.
Don't you agree, Jerry?
He's like, I'm gonna play an Alien episode, even though that's totally outdone from the 50s and 60s.
It shows the couple, and they're like, he mentioned us. Vampires. So no, but then it cuts back out to the window.
Alien stories.
It cuts back out to the window across the freaking way of Jerry's house, and you hear freaking his friend laugh. So you find out.
He's like, oh, it's nothing. And then you see the two red eyes in the night.
Yeah, you find out that his friend didn't die.
And then it goes
freaking.
Nate Dunning didn't die, I guess.
His friend's alive, and he's in the freaking house next door, and he's like, and he laughs, and he's like, yeah, Jerry, old buddy.
Alright, so that was our in-depth horror discussion on Fright Night. Overall, definitely like an 8.5.
Yeah, we forgot a couple things. Freaking tell us what you thought. If we missed anything, give us comments.
Check out your thoughts on the remake and this one.
Check out our freaking collections. Rate and subscribe. And
check out our upcoming reviews this Halloween season. We got Friday the 13th series. We're going to do the first 4 of those.
Reviewing Planet Terror, reviewing a whole bunch of movies that are tight.
Shout out to Bone Crusher T800. He uploads.
To Antes 80/.
He uploads horror highlights and shit. Yeah. And also Zombie Lover. He does action figures of his horror action figures. And
he's got some tight shit.
Check out our subscribers. Those are all good horror channels. So yeah. Mr. Creepshow 9.
JBM 2005.
This kid's a fag.
And this kid's